Good afternoon. Well, at least it's afternoon for me right now. I want to talk to you a little about the Rectory program and the capital campaign that's going on. Because of COVID and all of that, we put things on pause for a long time, although the building committee has continued to work. The good news is we are finally able to submit and have submitted plans to the design review board for the city of Scottsdale, and we're waiting for when we are allowed to meet with them. But that's a major hurdle that we've just finished, so we're pretty happy about that. We've had a few, actually 3 receptions, allowing people to ask questions and see some of the plans, and we were advertising those in the bulletin and at Mass. Some of the questions that came up were very, very interesting. And I think it's important to note that a rectory is not a house, but is very different from a house. For instance, each priest gets a suite, which is a kind of a living room or a living space, a bedroom, and a bathroom. And of course, each suite has to have its own temperature controls, because different priests at different ages have different needs. Our current plan is for 4 suites so that we can have retired priests staying here and helping out as well. As you know, St. Bernard of Clairvaux has depended on retired priests to help us out for most of the time that we've been in existence. And so we're planning for that, even though right now we do have an associate. The other thing is, a rectory has a chapel. And that's important because I know that our church is beautiful. I love going in there and praying. But at the same time, it is a workspace for me. And sometimes I'm like, okay, how come that's not clean? I go in there to pray and then I say, oh, the colors are wrong on the altar, or just little things. It's a workspace. The other thing is, sometimes as priests, we run into some very difficult situations. Even middle of the night, having to go to somebody's home, they're dying, it's emotional, come back and you can't go right back to sleep. It's good to have the chapel in our rectory, a place to pray, a place for each of us to process and have quiet time. Finally, if we have retired priests, they may want to say Mass by themselves instead of coming over to community Mass. And so there'll be a place there for them to have Mass as well. We do plan on having retired priests. In fact, at our priest convocation last month, I had a couple of the retired guys that are looking at retirement ask me when our rectory would be done, because they're thinking about it. And I told them they'll probably have to work for another year before we'd be ready for them. But they're already looking for places where they could live, and they want to live in a rectory on property with a community. I think that's really, really important. One of the things that was mentioned at one of our receptions, I've talked about the fact that I'm living like a bachelor right now in an apartment. One person said that the reality is Father Mike lives in a big apartment complex. He should not have to, when he goes back and forth to his car or when he's out on his patio, see all these young women in bikinis walking to the pool. That's not really part of priestly life. And so I thought that was a hilarious comment, but true at the same time. So we will need to get this built, and that is the plan. Our current capital campaign includes air conditioning for the church, and we have put that as the first thing. In fact, the air conditioning is already being purchased. Some of it will be installed shortly. We're already working on that. So that we're taking care of you and your need first. That was part of Together Let Us Go Forth, and we will be using those funds for the air conditioning. So we thank you very much for that. As I talk about Together Let Us Forth, I want to mention that The campaign here, which was before I became pastor, it was a 5-year program, so it's pretty much run out. Most of your pledges should be met already. Some of you did not finish your pledge. Some of you, for one reason or another, have chosen not to. And that's okay. It's your choice. If you choose to continue the campaign, that can happen. And of course, remembering that we get 35% of whatever you give to the diocese comes back to us. The last check we got was for $21,000, which of course helps with the air conditioning expense. So we are continuing to use the money in the ways that was promised to you. And I'm very, I stress a lot about trying to be as transparent as we can be and continue to work on that with the Finance Council. In fact, I plan on talking to you a little more about the Together Let Us Go Forth, probably next week in a video as well. We will be talking about pledges at the Sunday Masses. There'll be materials available. There'll be tables where you can ask questions. We're very happy to have the Catholic Community Foundation helping us for free. Usually when you hire a company to help with a campaign, they'll charge you a huge amount, easily $50,000 just to help with a campaign. And Catholic Community Foundation for the Diocese of Phoenix is doing this for free to help us out. We're getting a lot of help there at all of our meetings. It really, truly is helpful. They will be available in the next couple of weekends after Masses to talk with you, answer any questions that you have. So I really want you to prayerfully consider making a pledge for the campaign if you have not already done so. We'll shortly be announcing, I think the last I heard, we're over $800,000 already in pledges. So we're hoping to get substantially more in the next couple of weeks. And if you cannot make a pledge, I understand that, but I ask you to continue to pray for us, pray for the work we're doing, and pray for the success of this campaign. The last thing I'll mention to you is that some of you have commented about the hall, the new parish center hasn't been used as much before I got here. And then we had COVID hit. Believe me, it is booked now. It has booked a lot. And it's booked not so much with private, but with Catholic and Catholic organizations using it throughout the diocese. They're all coming here. They've seen it. They're happy about it. And then, of course, also we do have some wedding receptions. So those kinds of things are beginning to open up, and you will see a lot of activity happening in the hall pretty soon. Thank you very much. Take care, and God bless you all.